Well, the man whose unusual idea this is joins us now. That is, of course, Barry McGuigan. Just one simple question, really. Why?
Because he wants to box a professional fight. He wants to box a couple of professional fights. That's his ambition. He's always loved the challenge in his life. And I don't know whether it's a bucket list or whatever. He's he wants to box. You know what I'm doing?
When they first put this plan to you, Freddie, what did you say?
It was it all started when I was doing the documentary on it. I went to interview Barry, and as a fan I just wanted to hit the pads. Me and my mate Gabe wanted to hit the pads, and I hit him. He says, "You can punch." And then I saw him in the office a few months later and jokingly said he's having a meeting about my fight, and then he said, "Do you want to?" I said, "If you think I can."
I made the mistake of saying to him, you know, in another world you could have been a 6'4.5", you know, with the sort of wingspan you got, the physique he has, he could have been a fighter. So he put it on me, and here we are.
I have to say, when I met you today, your appearance has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
It's chiselled.
Chiselled.
And trim.
Never been described as that ever.
Where's the weight gone?
It's dropped off. Shane, Barry's son's put me on this training regime and diet. And it's the caveman diet. I have a steak for breakfast and nuts and chicken and fish and veg. And it's funny when you see people who've not seen us for a while, they're all saying the same things, and ex-colleagues and captains like Michael Vaughan, they're saying like boxing, you need dedication, discipline, no drink, what's your diet, all the things I never did. So it's been a real lifestyle change, and you know, through Barry and through Shane, you know, I've learned a lot about myself, from mentally, physically, and obviously learning how to box.
Barry, you know better than most what it takes to become a professional boxer, let alone the very best professional boxer. Mm-hmm. Here on BoxNation we see young lads going in for 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8s, and so they go on. He's stepping into the ring as a novice. Are you not worried about him?
No, that's the very thing that attracts him. The very thing that really, because you know, he's been part of the Jackal Carl Frampton camp, and he's travelled with us to Belfast, and he's watched Frampton, he's trained with Frampton, and he's seen what it's like, and he's been a fan of boxing, as he's told you, for years and years. And I think just to sample a little bit of that,
I would no more think about getting into the ring than I would jumping out of that space capsule recently. This is dangerous.
You'd have had a go at that, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't. This is dangerous territory, isn't it?
No, it is dangerous territory, and I think that's what attracts him. And the jeopardy is what actually makes him want to do it. And you know, he wants to prove things to himself. It may even be a sort of form of catharsis. It may even be, you know, can I actually do this? And you know, we're going through the preparation. We're sparring every day. We're sparring big lumps. I keep talking about we. I always used to, the proverbial we when you're a boxer. You talk about like your team, but the fact is, you know, Shane has trained him fantastically with the diet, with the weight, technical things he has got to improve on. And you know, the courage thing, he's shown me day in, day out that he's got courage. And I'll be honest, and I'll say it in front of him, he's not the finished article, and it would take a long time to make him the finished article. But for a 4-round novice fighter, he's not bad at all.
Do you want to be the finished article? Do you think you might get a bug here?
I'm getting a bug for the training, I'm getting a bug for being fit and being around sport again. But I've got to be honest about this. I'm nearly 35 in December. And I've committed everything I can to this, and it would be sad to have one fight, put all this involved, and then not do it again. You know, all the training and all the technical stuff I've done. So we'll see where it takes us. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm not going to start ranting and raving and saying I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, or speak about myself in the third person. I'm just getting my head down, having a fight on the 30th, and then see where we go after that.
35, that's a baby compared to Foreman when he stepped back into the ring.
Yeah, well,
plenty of time.
I like your grill as well.
But you know, the thing about it is, and I think Freddie's realistic. You know, he has not got ambitions of being a champion. He knows that he's going to have a number of professional fights, and Well, I hope he'll be happy with that. He's not. I don't think he's going to do a Curtis Woodhouse, and we've been slagged off by people, and we don't really listen to all of that. But you know, you have got what makes him different to Curtis Woodhouse. What makes him different to Adam Hollyoak? What makes him different to Sonny Bill Williams? What makes him different to Mickey Rourke? You know, they've all had a go at the professional game, so he wants to do it. He's trained exceptionally hard. He's lost all this weight. He's focused. He wants to do it. People don't believe he wants to do it, but just watch on November 30th. He's going to do it.
See, Freddie, I thought I could play football until I stepped into an arena with professional footballers. Yeah. Most of us fancy ourselves at cricket as well, until we find ourselves facing somebody that can bowl like you did. Do you not find that with boxing? Well, these guys know what they're doing, don't they?
Yeah, there is, but I think within sport there's all different levels as well, isn't there? With cricket there's internationals, county, and football's all the different levels, and I'm not getting carried away like Barry says. You know, I'm going in as a novice heavyweight. You know, I'm not. You know, people are offering me out left, right, and centre on Twitter. every time I turn Twitter on, someone wants to hit me or someone's calling me out, and I'm like, well, nah, you're all right. But I'm realistic about what I can do. You know.
And let me clarify something. You know, people are saying no, the critics are saying no, you know, he's top on the bill. Freddie knows he's not top on the bill. The top of the bill is going to be, it's a fantastic domestic dust-up between Denton, Vassell, Mancunian and Ronnie Heffron, and we've got a really full undercard, which is very exciting too, that Frank and George Warren are providing. So it's you know, Freddie's in a 4-round contest. It's a professional one. There's a lot of jeopardy, there's a lot of risk involved, and yes, that's why you're interested, that's why everybody else is interested. But we've worked very hard. I believe he's in the best shape of his life. Technically, he's not the finished article, nothing near it, but he's getting better every day, and he's improving. And it will be an exciting 4-round contest.
What's the outcome that you want?
I'd like to win.
No, well that's short term.
You ask me.
Yeah, no, that because you're putting a lot of effort into this with your boy. What's the outcome? Do you want him to come out and say, I want to go again?
I want him to get through it safely, number one. I want him to come through it and say, I really enjoyed that, and then he can say what he wants after that. But ultimately, I want to get him through it safely. I want him to look good and feel that the last number of months that he's been working have been worthwhile.
What sort of fighter is he?
He's a novice, first of all. We're not going to create any sort of delusions of grandeur. He's a novice heavyweight. He's very determined. He's got a good jab. His stance is good. His right hand is good at times, and times is not good. But we're still working on that. We've 2 weeks to work on that to get it right. And he's very determined. And he's just a great man. He's a great human being. He can punch hard, yeah. Provided he commits to the punch. Sometimes he doesn't commit, and it's not a true right hand, but when he commits, he sparred hundreds of rounds, but on one of the occasions he sparred a big MMA fighter who was over 100 kilos, and he hit him with a really sharp right hand and very badly stunned him and hurt him. And then he went, are you all right? And I went, don't do that, don't do that. Just stop that. So that part of it we have to change. But he'll be more focused in that sense on the night. And guess what? When people see this, and just to reiterate what he said, that here's the point. You know, people are saying that he's you know, disrespecting the sport. That is absolutely the wrong side of the scale. You know, he really respects the game, and he respects it more than ever. And far from it being ridiculing the game, it is actually publicising and everything that's good about boxing.
Right. A ball for a hat-trick in the Ashes. Possible 6 off the last over to win the Ashes series, or right now a big blow to win the fight with a knockout in, say, the 3rd. What would you take?
Right now I'd take the big blow, I think. The cricket's gone, hasn't it? That's, but I'll be honest with you, from a cricket point of view, for me it was always cricket first. So it's a hard question to ask. You know, I wish I was still playing cricket. I was telling you before, that's what I was brought up on, and this is a chance to do something else and something hopefully special. But I think at this point in time, with all the work I've done and everything, I'd take the blow to finish the fight. I wouldn't take the blow to finish the fight. I would dish the blow out. Just reiterate that.
You're getting used to apologising to people for hurting them. Have you got it in you? Have you really got it in you to win with a big knockout blow?
Well, that's the plan, yeah.
Your eyes came alight then, you know.
Did they? Yeah,
didn't they? You see, so maybe you're making progress.
No, he's making progress. Well, you'll see. Last week was a sort of threshold moment. He had his first sort of contest, proper contest, in front of granted a small gym in Belfast, but he boxed a guy with 6 or 7 white collar fights, and you'll see he done very well, and he punched with spite and animosity, which is what you need. It's a tough game, boxing, and I suppose the purists who are looking at it are thinking, well, you know, this guy's not serious. Well, just watch him and the training and the effort that he makes. He's very serious.
So I think it's a fascinating project, and that's why, as you say, Barry, we're all watching, and we all actually want to see him do more than quite well, don't we?
We definitely do.
British sporting hero. Come on, Freddie.
He's a great man, and he's a jovial big lad, and we have had great fun. But he's had a hard time, so he deserves to win on the 30th, and we hope that that'll be the result.
And by the way, we don't want to see you hurt either.
No.
So you need to be careful.
Thanks, Keezy.
That's my worry.
That's my worry too.
It's one of the stark realities of it, and that's why when you commit to this, you just got to go. You don't want to walk in the ring thinking I should have done this, should have done that. You got to commit to it fully, and that's what I've done. I've seen, like Barry said, I've seen Carl Frampton train for his last fight, and seen about Eagles, about his business, and just trying to do that, because it is hard. It's the hardest thing I've done, but hopefully, in my experience, the hardest things are the most rewarding, and hopefully that's going to be the case.
Final one, Barry. I was fascinated when I read your book, and you eloquently, brilliantly described ring walk for your last fight. Give him some idea of what that's like.
Well, interestingly enough, Richard, Mike Tyson came down a couple of weeks ago, down to Shane's gym just here in Testbed, and he talked about, Sugar Ray Leonard came down as well, but he done like a master class with jab and speed and working on his jab, and Tyson talked about the psychology of boxing, and we talked about walking to the ring. He said everybody thought I was a nutcase and everybody was terrified of me, whereas I was actually terrified myself. He says, you know, walking towards the ring is and can be the most difficult thing of all, just walking in there. And we haven't been able to simulate that. Of all our training, we haven't been able to simulate that. I don't think you can simulate that. So it's going to be a first on the night of the 30th. We hope it'll go well, and he's a big occasion man, and the pressure will be intense, but I'm convinced that he will get there, and he will be impressive, and he will win.
Freddie was for cricket. Have you not got a proper boxing nickname?
No. Everyone's been asking about nickname, walk-on music, and that's been the furthest thing from my mind all the way through this process. I'll pick my band who's going to whatever song I'm going to go out to, and then I'm just going to stick with Simple Fred. Some of the stuff which people have mentioned probably hasn't been suitable either. so
Frightening Freddie Flintoff.
Ferocious.
That one.
Yeah, you don't want to walk out there embarrassed, do you?
Yeah, that's also true.
Exactly.
Listen, thanks both, and don't forget you can see this fight exclusively live on BoxNation on November the 30th.